This is Krish here, and today we'll be discussing about the dashboards, and we'll be using Power BI tool to discuss. To actually, I'll be showing the Power BI tool and how the Power BI tool is used to build the dashboard. That is what I'm going to show, and I'm going to take a case study of inventory, and I'm going to build a dashboard on the inventory. And the most important thing about this particular webinar is that you will be seeing the application of Power Pivot, Power Query, and Power BI. So we will be using three different functionalities of Excel: Power BI, Power Pivot, and Power Query. So without Power Query and Power Pivot, we cannot actually develop. We cannot actually work very well on the Power BI. So we need to know, we need to have some clear concepts or clear fundamentals about how to use the Power BI, with Power Query and Power Pivot, right? Even if we don't know how to use Power Pivot, but we should be able, we must know what is Power Query. And Power Pivot is something Power Pivot is a tool which is going to reduce your data size heavily. And if you reduce your data size heavily, then I think you will be using less data. And if you use less data, then you'll be making your Power BI functionalities or the output very fast. So let us see what is Power BI and what is Power BI, how the Power BI looks. And I will just share my screen and we'll move towards the Power BI functionality. So guys, I will be sharing a Power BI dashboard which I have already built. But we will not be using this Power BI dashboard. We will be creating a new dashboard altogether, and that is what we are going to see functionalities of how Power Query and Power Pivot. And once we create our data in Power Query and Power Pivot, we'll be transferring the data into Power BI. So even we can transfer the data into Power BI and we can work on the Power BI also. And then in Power BI, we can use the Power Query function also. That is also one of the channel or one of the route. There are two routes: create data in Excel and work on that Excel using Power Query. And once you are completing your once you're completing your work on the Power Query, then you can transfer that file into the Power BI, or you can transfer the Excel file into Power BI. And in Power BI, you can actually use the functionalities of the Power Query and transform the data. Right? So uh, by people who are very new to Power Query or Power Pivot or Power BI, let me tell you that the functionality of Power Query is very very important to learn, because it is going to save a lot of time, a lot of the time on data cleaning and data transformation. We spend a lot of time, we are working supply chain domain. So the main function of a supply chain professional is to work on the execution side or the strategy side or the tactical side, not on the data side. Of course, everybody is talking about data and data analysis or data science, but what is important here is that we should spend as much as less time as possible on data analysis. We should be getting what is the meaning of that? Does it mean that we should not spend time on data analysis? It's not like that. We should spend the time on data analysis, but that analysis time should be as less as possible, so that we take the strategies or tactic means the decision part from the data analysis into the execution side. So unless we execute the decisions from supply chain data, we cannot be we will not be able to get the benefits of the supply chain data analysis. So what we need is that we need to spend as less time possible on the data analysis, and for that we need to work we need to work on our Power Query and Power Pivot, which is going to reduce your data analysis time like very much. So let me share my Power BI. It is getting downloaded. So meanwhile, the download process is complete. I'll show my data, which where we are going to work on. So I'll take two reports. One report is called the purchase request report, and other will take two different reports, and we will be working on that. It's slow, so don't please don't mind. Please be patient with me. and because I know you'll be getting a good quality information to see which you can apply with your in your business. So just please bear with me and don't leave the session. And if you have any questions, you can definitely ask the questions on the platform on which we are connected. I'll be replying back all the queries to you. So guys, if you're working on ERP and you have your down company data from the ERP, so there are some data analysis or data analysts in your company working on SQL connect the tables from the backend of ERP, and they'll give a report which is what you want for analysis. That kind of process which is done by the SQL writers, query writers, the process can be done with you without using any kind of coding, without using any kind of SQL queries. And that is what the beauty of Power Query. So you don't need to have a SQL query writers. So SQL query, the effort of the SQL query writers can be eliminated if you know the working facilities with Power Query. That is what the beauty of Power Query. So I'll show how those things can be done. So meanwhile, I just want to ask a question. Have you been have you been working into the Power BI ever? And have if you have not been into Power BI, have you worked in any other kind of tool which actually works or creates dashboards? And what is your experience? Means, are you getting the proper benefits out of that? Getting your data? Actually, this is a Power BI tool which is getting uploaded. So Power BI, I will also tell you that you have to see what kind of bits your system, your Excel is. Suppose you are using an Excel of 32-bit, then you need Power BI with 32-bit. If you are using an Excel of 64-bit, then you need to download the Power BI with 64-bit. That is what we need to actually be careful about, because that bit mapping will be there between the Excel and the Power BI. Otherwise, the Power BI will not work. Right? Either in case best is just look at your Excel bit. So to discuss to agree. I mean, so guys, I'm just downloading the Power BI in my system. So meanwhile, I will just share some inputs on the Power BI, Power Query, and Power Pivot. So Power Query is a tool which if I define what is Power Query, Power Query is a tool which is used to clean the data, to transform the data. Suppose, for example, if you want to have a date, and you have a date column, and you want to have a month column, or a year column, or you want to have a day column, or you want to have a week of the column, or you want a day of the column, right? So if you want to have such kind of information, so what you can do is that you can just use simple functionalities of the Power Query. Those things in Excel, right? You can write a formulas, but if writing a formulas and then executing it, it takes some time. But Power Query, it is just like you just have to you have to you have to get output. Very simple. Whatever writing the formulas to get the output, those things you can do in Power Query without writing the formulas. That is what the beauty of the Power Query. And the effort to create the output in Excel as compared to Power Query functionality is very less. So that you can save a lot of time, you can save a lot of effort. And the second part is that it is like Power Query, when you create a template that is saved. You just have to refresh every time you get a new data. You don't need to recreate the Excel completely. You just have to refresh the new data with the old data, and you will be getting the entire the new output, right? This is the beauty of the Power Query. Means it works like a you have all the steps listed. You don't need to recreate everything fresh. Everything is there within the Power Query. You just have to refresh and you'll get your output. So guys, this is my dashboard, and we have done this dashboarding for so in Power BI. If you can see my screen, which is there are various pages of the lead time. We have done the dashboarding for the lead time calculation. We have done the dashboard for the analysis. We have done the dashboard for stock reorder, means how much reorders we have to do. We have done the analysis dashboarding for the stock reorder. Then we have done for access. Then we have done for issues and issues and per week. We have supply ABC and XYZ volume, ABC and XYZ analysis by value. So we've done all this kind of analysis, and we have tried to put together in one Power BI dashboard in a page form, different page forms. Let me check whether our Excel sheet or not yet. So we got our Excel sheet ready, and I'm showing you how to work on this Excel sheet and and use the Power Query functionality. So what I will do is I'll transport this file into Excel, right, into Power Query. So what I will do first is that I'll go open a new sheet here and click on data. And if you look at here, I have an option, for a function called new query. So so let me share my screen. I think I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry guys. So here is the Excel sheet which I was trying to open, and this Excel sheet is called, the name of the file is called purchase request report. So of course, there is the name suggests it's a purchase request report. So it will contain the details of the purchase. So let me show you that file. So this is what, if you look at this purchase request report, which has purchase order number, order date, date required is the date, the initially negotiated date where the buyer and supplier have agreed upon to receive the product to the buyer. Then we have supplier name, supplier name. Then we have the order status. Then we have the PR purchase requisition number. Then this is a systems company's this seller's PO number. There's a part number. There's a part description of the part. There's a quantity, how much is what purchased, and this is a bin location. This is a date received and date GR. So if you look at this file, there is a lot of things has to be done. Like suppose there's a PO number is there and there is order date. But look, if you look at here, we have open spaces here, right? We have blank spaces here, and if you have a file like this, blank spaces, this is unanalyzable. We cannot analyze the file. We will not be able to analyze the file if we have blank spaces like this, right? So our job is to remove these blank spaces in such a way that we don't lose the information, the main information of the file, right? So what I will do is that I'll open a new sheet. I'll go to data, then I'll go to new query, and from this new query I'll go to from Excel file, and from here I'll choose from workbook. So I'll go to this my file. I'll choose the purchase request report from here. I click import. If you see the routing which I have done, I went to data. From data, I went to new query. From new query, I have selected the file, Excel file, and this Excel file is getting imported over here. And the process of transformation and cleaning will be very fast and very smooth with the use of Power Query. That is what we are. That is the reason why we are using Power Query. So it will take initially some time to upload, but don't worry. This is worth spending the time this waiting time, because for future reports I don't need to do the same thing. I just have to, suppose if I get the report from system in the raw format, right, like this, the raw format, I don't have to redo all the steps which I am doing now, because the I can just click on refresh, and after refresh I'll get the analyzable file straight away without doing all these efforts again and again. So most of the people who are working in the companies, they download the reports from the ERPs, and they rework on those files, and that takes a lot of time, because some files may take half an hour, some files may take a couple of hours, right? And this actually also costs company the money, because they have to hire the resources to do that particular step. So when we work on the Power Query, see, once you have done the work on the raw file, and whatever shape you have created from the raw file, you don't need to recreate the particular raw file. You don't need to rework on the raw file again. So like one time effort, even if you spend 1 hour on the creating the particular final shape from the raw data, is that 1 hour is 1 hour per, right, is going to save almost 500 hours of your work. That is the strength of the Power Query. So you must try to use the Power Query if you are working on data analysis, and if you want to really, the reason why you should use Power Query is that you should be able to save your time and effort. That is the beauty of Power Query. So whatever effort I'm doing right now, this effort I don't need to do in the next time, because I am working on creating the steps to transform a raw data into analyzable data. And whatever analyzable data I create, right, using this Power Query, that is a one-time single effort. You don't need to work on that file again and again. And how that is done? That is done by using a functionality called refresh. Right? I'll be showing that particular functionality, and if you look at here, there's a refresh all. You can see my cursor. There's a refresh all button is there, and that refresh all button is enough to recreate your analyzable file from the raw data just with one click, and that one click is going to save your 500 hours for one file in a year. 500 hours in one file in a year. It's like a huge saving, huge effort. So if there's huge effort, and the time is going to save if you're using Power Query. That is the benefit of using Power Query. We'll be seeing, and whatever steps you're doing for transformation, those steps earlier we will see that we have been using formulas to create that, but we don't need to create those things with the formulas. We will be using the steps available or the functionalities available within the Power Query to create an analyzable file. So let us wait for some time. By the time it finishes, so let me show you one thing. I will be showing you the. Okay, I think we are getting it. So it is taking some time because the data size is very big, and you know the laptop's hard disk drive is highly populated. That's the reason it is taking some time. But if you have a good laptop, I think this time of creating the tables and the loading into the Power Query will not take much time, and also the data size will also get reduced. Initially, if you have an Excel file, of let's say 100 MB, but if you create the same file in Power Query, that 100 MB file, you could see is reduced into 20 MB or 25 MB. Almost you can see a 75 reduction in data size. And if you're smart enough, you can actually reduce the 100 MB file into even 5 MB or 2 MB, even up to 5 MB or 6 MB also you can do it. So the Power Query is not only going to save your time and effort, but also is going to reduce the size of the file. Even if you do not remove any columns or if you do not do any filtration, right? Even then, the data size will reduce. If you remove some of the columns, if you remove some of the data with using filters, the data is going to reduce further. That is the advantage of the Power Query. So if you're working, if you're using, if you're a company, or if you're a person working on a job profile where you're using Excel, regularly, I think I will suggest you to try this functionality Power Query. And if you have any questions, you can also connect with us. I'll be sharing my contact details, or it may be visible on my screen. So you can connect with us. Also, we will be helping you in creating, beautiful work, which is going to save your time and work, and also you can reduce your data size significantly. And this is how we have to work on Power BI. So if you're working on a Power BI, right? So like I'm actually an inventory professional, and I want to understand my stock out rate, and I want to understand stock out rate for a specific item, right? This absorber shock, right? If you look at here, this 100%. This item is not available in the warehouse, so I can check. Suppose if I check another item that is called air tool, let me check whether we have. It's 100% stock out, right? And what is the reorder level? That is zero point zero 0.08 units. Reorder level is zero point 0.0, and if I want to procure this item, the lead time is 4 days, and the issue rate per week is 0.02, right? 0.02. So I have to, I need zero point zero 0.08 units. Means 0.08 means 8 units. I need a stock. I need a availability of this material for 4 weeks. 4 weeks means I have to multiply 4 into 0.02. 0.02 is issue per week, and for 4 weeks it is 0.08. So I need to, I order this item immediately. So my dashboard is helping me. Suppose if I take another item, let's say I alternate three pair. Let me take another item. Let's arm assembly. Right. If you look at, this is also having a stock out, 100% stock out, and the issue rate is per week is 0.03. Right. I need at least I need for point 0.12. Means if I have to get this item into my inventory, I need to have 0.12 units for 4 weeks. Now, if I want to go back and check my location wise, so I will just click on select all. So this is like select all, and then I'll go for location wise analysis. So these are the 5 locations we have. So I want to check my location for NYL. This is the name of a city, short form of city, was our client report. So if you look at for NYL, the stock out rate is 95.1%. So this is a very dangerous thing. 95.1% of the items are having stock out. If I click on FSR, the other item, and I just have to click this one again. So FSR is showing 94.9% stock out, and this is a very alarming supply chain. The supply chain of our client is not good at this moment. We have most of the items on stock out, right? So if you look at the other location, FSR is 95.5%. This is 95.5% stock out. Only 4.43% of the items have the inventory, and almost the issue rate is 36.606. You know, globally, if you take all the items together, so the issues per week is 36.6 units. We need a huge level of inventory. So let me take you another page, that is access page. In the access page, let me, yeah, in there. So how much inventory, surplus inventory we have? So how much surplus inventory we have? Right? That is what we have to do analysis. Suppose if I go to a category, parts, and I do the analysis for the parts, how much of extra inventory we have. So within parts, so here if you look at this, stock in excess, we have a very high level, high stock for some of the items. So let me select for 2022. click on special tools, parts. So the excess stock of in the case of for parts, it is the stock in excess is 22,809 units. So go to lubricants, is 25,766 units, which are in excess. Equipments, we go to equipments, total of 430 units are in excess. If you go to consumables, there's 2.45 means 2,450 units are excess. If you go to batteries, there is 190 units which are excess. And these 190 units are split in various years. So I'm getting to understand what is the current status of access. And if I know the current status of access, I will immediately start working on that. Let's see ABC and XYZ analysis. What I'll do, I'll see high volume and high frequency. High volume and high frequency. What are there? This is high volume and high frequency. So what is the current status of high volume and high frequency items? So high volume and high frequency, right? So here we have lubricants and parts, and out of lubricants, 91% is from the lubricants, and rest are from the parts. The go and the low volume and low frequency. These are the most alarming thing in supply chain. If it is a low volume and low frequency, this is very alarming. So if you look at here, 90% is from the parts only. Out of this, 90% is from parts. Let's say high volume and low frequency. This is high volume and low frequency. Means items which are having, if they're having sales in high volume, but the frequency of sales is very less. So here, if you look at that's lubricants, 62% of the items are from the are from categories which belong are from the lubricants, which are from the high volume and low frequency. We have to work on this area to improve the sales, to improve the frequency of the sales. So this dashboard is going to help us a lot in supply chain performance improvement. Now we go to days of supply. I want to understand my inventory turnover. Inventory turnover is I now over for all the SKUs together. The inventory turnover is 1.43, which is very low. So I'd like to understand for the location wise. I propose you click on NYL. For NYL, the inventory turnover is 0.46. It's very low. The turnover is very low, 0.46. If I go to another location, this GNA, this is 0.48. It's very low. If I go to PNR, so these are the area locations where we are able to see our inventory turnover. So FSR, the inventory turnover is, let's see, refresh, yeah, 0.18. Let's see the KRT one, 0.31. So the inventory turnover is very low. So we have, as in this supply chain requires plenty of effort and to improve the metrics. Let's see the category. Equipment. Equipment is a category, and we're seeing the turnover is immediate turnover is 0.02, very 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 low. Let's look at the lubricant side, 0.31, better than equipment. Let's look at the parts. Its lubricant is 0.01, very very low. Let's look at the consumables. So the consumables have very poor immediate turnover. Let's look at tools. The tools is 0.03. Tires, that's 0.01. That's parts, 0.64. Let's look at special tools, 0. Let's look at lubricants, 0.04. Right, so the inventory turnover has to be improved a lot. Currently, the inventory turnover is very very less. So this has to be worked. Supply chain is in a very bad shape. So within batteries, we have multiple battery sections. So battery of 12 volt, battery of the different categories of batteries are there. Dry charge, dry charged. So there are various kind of segments are there within the within battery category. Okay, the subcategories, the inventory turnover subcategories. So which category will the best performance under the main category, right? But also we can educate from here. So let me restart the process because it is taking a lot of time than what it should have taken. Let's see whether we can finish this upload process, and then we will do one process of Power Query, and then we'll upload the data into the Power BI, and then we'll build a small dashboard out of that. This is because my laptop's capacity, that's why it is not taking a lot of time. Otherwise, it will not take so much of time. And second thing is that I'm also using the streaming software. So that also slow down the process. If I close this streaming process, I will not take this much of time. We have another 20 minutes, so let's see whether we can do it or not. Okay, so this is taking a lot of time. So what I'll do is I'll I'll show you the Power Query functionalities using the Power BI tool itself. So what I'll do in the Power BI tool, there is an option called transform data. I'll click on this transform data function. I'll go to transform data. So if I can also do the Power, I can use the Power Query functionalities by using the Power BI functionality only. Of course, there is two routes I have already discussed. One route is that we transfer the file to Power Query and do the transformation and then dump into Power BI. Or you can dump the data directly to Power BI and then do the transformation using Power BI Power Query within Power BI. So I'm using a second route now, not the first route, because first route I'm actually not able to create because of the speed issues. So what I'll show you guys, look at here. This is my Power Query functionalities, and I'll go to the purchase request report. Now, if you look at here, I have an order date, and I want to split this order date into year, month, and week. So what I will do is, I'll click on the add column first here on the top, click on the order date column, just go to date over here, and write year, click on year. So once I click on the year, I'll get the year of this particular date, which is 2019, 2019. So very simple because I knew we build charts right on the year-wise analysis. When we do analysis by year, so we need the year column separately. So this is how we are extracting. We are extracting the year from date. So if you want to click on again, go to the order date, and I want a month of this. What I go to click on this date and go to month and select the month. So I'm extracting the month out of the date. So the month of this particular of the order date. Similarly, if I go and on this order date, I click on this date here, and I go to quarter. If you want to go to, if you want to get the quarter of the year, you can get the quarter of the year. If you want to get the week of the year, you can get the week of the year. If you want to get day of the week, the day of the week, or day of the year. So how you want to build your you want to build your visualization by year wise, you want to build your visualization by month wise, you want to build your visualization by week wise. So based upon your requirement, you can extract the particular information from the date column from here. So if the same step, if you want to do in Excel, you have to write the formulas. But here we are not writing the formulas, we're just clicking on the column and we are using the functionality of the add column, and from here actually going to a date, and we are building up the columns separately, and we are going to use columns to build a visualization, right? So this is how we can actually, and here if you want to suppose this particular date column is text, sometimes we see the date column in text, and you want to have the the text column text into date. So what you will do is you click on this, right click on this, go to change type, and here you can change the format. Right now we have the format in date, so we don't need to change that. But if you have the format in text or some other format, you can go to this right click and go to change type, and from here you can see you click on date, and this will change your order date or whatever date column into a date format. So this is one of the major challenges we face in our Excel, where we have to change the formats. Okay, of course, it's a very simple step, but here even you can do you can select multiple columns together and change it. Right now, suppose if I have two columns with a date column, I can select both of them, click on shift, select both of them, and change the click this and right click and change type together at the same time. I can select all the columns together and change the format to the required format all at once. We don't need to do separately. This is going to save a lot of time for us. And guys, whatever I'm doing over here, if you see on the right hand side, these are all the steps which are getting saved. Right? These are all the steps which I have already performed on this particular Excel sheet, and these steps are saved. So when I get a raw data which I'm downloading from my ERP, right, and I'm putting into the folder where I have saved my previous file. In that folder, I have to go and just to refresh. The moment I do refresh, the new data, the new file which I have transported into the folder, that will convert into a analyzable form. I don't need to redo all these steps. We can avoid all these steps. This is a one-time effort, and we will be getting the analyzable file just with a click of refresh all. Okay. So all the data which we are uploading into the file that will come into this particular file. In this file, we can just refresh button. I don't need to do all this transformation again. This transformation are the one-time effort, right? So like this, now I want to create a KPI. Let's say I want to create a KPI called fill rate. So what I will do, I'll go to home. That we will do in the Power BI functionality, not over here, right? So this is how I can use my transformation function in Power Query. I can transform my files very fast. Suppose you want to convert, I don't need to convert that, but I will show you how. This is not a logical requirement. But suppose you want to combine my supplier column with order status, just select both of them together and go to merge columns. And I have to use separator. What is separator I want to use? Suppose I say column. Now you will see that both these columns are getting merged together. In Excel we use a functionality called concatenate. So we don't need to use concatenate function here. We don't need to write a formula. We don't need to write the formulas. See, this file is now merged. These two columns are got merged together. And suppose I want to go back and to the same the original condition. So this is a step at the bottom. You see merge column is a step. I have to delete this step, and once I delete this step, I'll go back to my previous state. Suppose you want to undo anything in Power Query, you have to delete this particular step from here, or you can also do Control Z. Right? So if you can do Control Z, you can actually undo your previous step. So this is how you can combine columns. This is how you can create new columns out of a given column. Right? If you want to create a file which has a particular supplier only, I don't want all the suppliers in my Excel file. So what I will do is I'll just select these four suppliers only. I don't want on this let's say these four suppliers, or let's say one more supplier, Petrobash. These are five suppliers I want to build data with. I don't want to have another suppliers. So I just go and filter from here and select the the required suppliers from the filter and click OK. And this is the file which you are going to which is getting ready with those selected suppliers. You don't need all the suppliers. You need only a few steps for analysis. That is what you're going to get from here, right? So now our file is ready. So what I will do is that I'll go to home and I'll close and apply. So once I go to home and do close and apply, so this file is getting transported into Power BI. So whatever transformations we have done, so that transformation is stored, and we will be getting a new file with the transformed version or transformed activities. So my new purchase request report file is a transformed file. So what I will do is I'll create a extra tab here, extra page over here. I'll try to get couple of visualizations using our new file which we have just built on Power BI. So what we have seen now, guys, we have seen the Power Query, right? How we work on the Power Queries, how we transform the file in a very quick manner, and whatever we do, it is a one-time effort. because this Power BI dashboard will be built every day, right? We have to refresh every day. It's not like that we have to build this Power BI dashboard each and every day. The structure of dashboard will be remaining same, and what even the data which we create bring in, the data should get updated into this Power BI dashboard just with a refresh click. So that is why that is why we require Power Query, because in the Power Query, whatever you steps you perform on a data that are saved, and just with a refresh, you can update your data and the Power BI dashboard. So because every day we're going to come up with new data, right? And that new data will be coming into, and for that we don't need to add every time. We have to just put them in the folder, and once you put them in the folder and you click refresh, that particular data will be show the effect on the Power BI dashboard. Just imagine, just with your refresh in your folder where you have saved the file, that refresh will update your update your Power BI dashboard. So if you want to create the Power BI dashboard every day with a scratch, you need a person. You need a person, and you need to work, and the person has to spend at least 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, right? And your team has to wait for 4 hours to get the latest update. Means the management which has to make the strategical and tactical decisions, they have to wait for 4 hours to get the update. So that should not happen. We should not make our management and tactical team members to wait for the the latest situation of the supply chain, and the delay which we create, is also a delay in making decisions, and the delay in making decisions may will be impacting our supply chain. So what we need is that we need we need to create a dashboard with minimal effort, and that is where the Power Query is going to be very helpful. So, of course, it has an application on Power BI dashboard, but it also has an application. If you do not want to create any Power BI dashboard, there are also in those areas also the Power Query has an application. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create da- you know a dashboard here. Let's say I am going to create a line chart. This is my I'm going to go to purchase request report. This is a table just now which we have done. I'm going to go here, the month, that's the order month. I put the order month on the over here axis. I'll take my quantity onto the values, my dashboard session which I've created. Now suppose if I want to do this thing analysis by year wise. So what I will do, I'll create a slicer here. So slicer, this is a slicer. So let me click here. Slicer, let me create a slicer. I'll take my year, order year, and I'll put this into the field over here. I'll make this as cross report because right. I'll just do some formatting here. I'll go to slicer header. Okay, order here is fine, fine. Order. Okay. I'm doing some formatting here. The formatting plays a very huge role because users must be able to use that and see that in a proper way. Now, suppose this is I want to analyze the same this bar chart between 2019 till 2021, right? So this now suppose you want to analyze from 2018 to 21. So this graph is changing now, right? You want to analyze from 2018 to 2020. If you want to analyze only for 2020, so we can analyze like this. So of course we can do formatting. Various kind of formattings are available. And the formatting we have to do only one time. Right? We don't need to do formatting multiple times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use formatting from my previous page. Suppose if I have this is my previous page, one of the slider I have. I click on this, I click on format painter, I go back to new page and click on this. Let's see whether it gets changed or not. Right now it's not taking into effect anything. Just because yeah. So now if you see we have our slider. This is our filter or slider and or slicer, whatever we can say. Now we can change our ears from here and we can actually see our graph. We can resize the graph. We can update or something like that. Now suppose you want to create a KPI, right? In supply chain we work with various KPIs, right? So I can create this KPIs over here using a new measure. And the last thing we are seeing in particular session. So guys, if you have any questions, you can post your questions. I'll answer back to you. So this is the last thing we are seeing in our webinar today, the KPI, and this is something very important because in supply chain or any sales, any function, we try to the business based upon the KPIs. So how to create a KPI using Power BI? I'm just trying to show you. This is what the formula here. So I'll give a name called let's say rate. Right? So I'll write a function called sum, and here I'll take the purchase request report and I'll go the order status. So this screen is stuck, guys. Just a minute. I have to select a right attribute. We can create our KPIs in Power BI. So I'm going to go and see here. So I'll say fill rate here. Um, Fill rate. Okay, I'll just put the bracket here divided by count of fill rate. Okay, I'll just put fill rate 1. So this is how we are able to create KPIs within Power BI, and we will be using these KPIs to show what is the current level of performance of supply chain. So in Power BI, within Power BI itself, we can create our So I'll go back to the KPI. Let's see the KPI where it is KPI. Date receipt, fill rate, category, fill rate number, GM. You'll get a KPI over here, fill rate. So that is what I'm getting here. So this is some of this is count. So the table which I have been used over here as a raw table. So I am changing the table now. So this table will purchase request table and it is working on this because we got the KPI here. Fill rate one. I'll take this KPI and drag over here on the Power BI window. So let me drag this. So the currently fill rate is 90%. Right? This is what the KPI which we just now got. So point 0.9 is the fill rate. So like this, we can create multiple KPIs using this KPI new measure within the Power BI itself. For that, we need to have a right kind of column with the right format. Suppose if you have a format in text format, a column in text format, and you want to use that to measure a KPI, you will not be able to measure the KPI because that format is text format. So you need to see the right format is there for the column. And if the format is not right, you have to go into Power Query and change the format. So like this, you will be able to create KPIs within the Power BI, and you can show those we can show those KPIs and track those KPIs using the visualization. Right, guys? So this is how the use of Power Query, which is very important, and important is because you need to you don't need to work on your Power BI dashboard to create visualization again and again. It's a one-time effort, and the only thing what you need to do is you need to refresh the folder where you are saving your raw data. So once you refresh the folder where you're saving your raw data, that entire thing will, your that particular refresh will change your raw data into analyzable data in the Power BI dashboard, and your Power BI dashboard will automatically get updated. So it's a one-time effort. It's a one-time effort where you have to work on all your files in such a way that you create effective visualizations in the Power BI dashboard. So guys, we are a consulting firm and a training firm. if you want to have any consulting assignments on creating supply chain dashboards, you can connect with us on our. I'll be sharing my contact details. You can see on the screen. The contact details are visible on my screen. So you can mail me at krishnaidu@mathmill.com, or you can also WhatsApp me at plus 98977 You can contact me. We will be helping you in building your supply chain dashboards. Or if you want to learn the entire dashboard process using Power BI, Power Query, and Power Pivot, you can also contact us. We will be helping you to to learn those concepts. So either of this, if you want, if you are actually a company, you want to hire us to build one-time effort. What is like a one-time effort, guys? To build your KPIs, to build your data. It's only one-time effort. Every morning you have to go to your office just to refresh your Power BI dashboard will be updated. Unless you create a new visualization. If you want to create a new visualization, again you have to follow the process, right? So guys, I'll take leave now. I'm very thankful that you have taken time out to listen to this very important session on Power BI dashboard, Power Query functionality, Power Pivot functionality. So I'm very thankful that you have listened, and I'm sure that if you go through this session once again, which will be available on our social media pages, it will definitely be very helpful to you. And please do apply the Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power BI functionalities on your Excel data, and that is going to save a lot of time, effort, and it's going to improve your efficiency. So I will just end with one sentence, Lord. You are a supply chain professional. You should spend as less time possible on data analysis. You should spend more time on execution of strategies and tactics. Right? Data analysis is a very strong skill, but we should spend less time. To spend less time, we need to have a right tools and right methods. Okay, guys. So I'm taking leave now. And if you have any questions, you can connect with me on krishnaidu@mathmill.com or WhatsApp me at plus 918 977 And if you have any consulting assignments, please let us know. We can help you at a minimal cost. And if you're looking for training, we're always ready. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. See you soon very much.